So you've been running about 4 years, if I can just do my maths in my head correctly.
2022.
Yeah, exactly. Have there been any challenges or risks that you've had to take in that time?
Today, you mean?
Yeah, just this morning since you woke up.
Yeah, definitely. I joke that every day I feel like I wake up with a fire hose in my hand.
Yeah, love that.
And there isn't a planned fire, but every day, I still think every day something happens, and I think your resilience to it just builds. So many. I don't know I wouldn't even know where to start. If you were to say yesterday, what happened? Biggest challenges. Fundraising. When I first fundraised, I don't come from a financial background. It's not something we were taught. It's kind of like politics and mortgages. We just weren't taught about any of this. And so fundraising in the first year of running the business, the definition of building the plane, flying the plane, was really tough, particular for a couple of reasons. I'd never done it before. So I didn't understand. I had to learn on the job. It was the year that Liz Truss came into government, and the economy was just an absolute shit show. I don't know if I can say shit on this, but
you
I've said it twice.
Can.
So that wasn't great.
Yeah.
And also, a lot of people I was speaking to were not my demographic audience.
Yeah, that must be really challenging from a
I've heard about this.
It was
a lot.
challenging and liberating, and it is. I also do have a positive spin on this as well. That yes, there's no denying. You'd get on calls and people are well, I'm obviously not your target audience. And I was like, no, you're not. But I bet you have a girlfriend or a mother or a wife or a daughter that has a vulva and has a body. Let me send you some product. Go, let them try them, and then let's have another chat. And more often than not, they come back.
That's a great tactic.
But also, investors are commercially minded, and they can see the data, and they can see, within beauty, women are 80% purchase drivers, and these are categories that they can see are in amazing growth, and so there's definitely a commercial opportunity. But on the flip side, I would say there's no denying that the stats against women raising money are horrific. Less than 2% of all funding goes to women. So for every pound that's raised, 2p. So there's no denying those stats. But I feel like I've got a couple of positive stories, and I think it's important to share those as well. I have fundraised and I've got incredible investors. The last fundraise I did, I was pregnant, and everybody said to me, don't tell them you're pregnant, get the money in the bank before you tell anybody. And I was like, well, it's a pretty relevant update. And I probably could have gotten away with doing that, but it didn't feel right to me. And I didn't set out on the right trust. And so I told them before any money was transferred. And my existing investors that were investing were brilliant. It didn't impact anything. Obviously I had to come with, here's the plan of what's practically going to happen. And I overfunded and I raised quite a bit more money. And it also meant I had a hard deadline on a fundraise. So I was like, well, this fundraise has to stop in 2 weeks because it has to. So either you're coming in or you're not. And I think it really helped with the momentum of it not dragging on. And so I think amongst there is this overwhelming negative narrative. I think it is important to also share positive narratives where there are amazing investors out there who are investing in women, who are supporting women, men and women. And, it's not all awful.
But what I love is you really care about your values. In the whole conversation today, everything comes back to what are you trying to achieve and what your values are, and it feels like that leads a lot of your decision making. And I feel like it's really refreshing to hear that yes, you've over fundraised, but also you did it being authentic and true to yourself and what you believed in, rather than putting on chinos and a shirt and hiding that bump under, I don't know, a gilet, and trying to conform to get the outcome. And I think, that's just really nice to hear, because quite often, again, this is slightly negative, but women have to try and shape themselves to be men in order to move forward. So it's really refreshing to hear. And do you have any advice about that side of things? If somebody's sat here listening and either wants to fundraise or is starting their own business?
I would say specifically on fundraising, in the same way, we revise for stuff at school, you do need to become an expert. You need to understand the fundraising landscape, and you also need to be really clear what type of business you want to run. That a venture-backed style growth business is very different to another style of business. Do you definitely need funding?
Yeah.
And if you do need funding, what are the funding options? Because venture equity, which is where you give away a percentage of a company to external investors, is one model. But depending on your stage of growth, like business loans or debt financing or there are other, not every business is right for venture funding either. So I think really understanding the funding landscape, and really understanding what's in it for them as it is in for you. Like, it's the same if you launch into retail. Like, you've got to understand, like, what does the retailer want? It's not just about what you want. Then picking, it really is a two-way partnership of picking the right investors. That you are giving people an opportunity to come into something potentially amazing. It's not just that you're taking cash. Like, what is the value beyond cash?
So having the confidence to know that it's a two-way thing.
Yeah.
And to know that you're also interviewing them.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then I think the thing that I've just become more comfortable with, for me, is just being myself. That, to your point earlier of women having to act like men. I remember I did a panel in the very early days, and this woman came up to me at the end in front of a group of women, and she's like, yeah, it's really cool that you fundraise, but do you think it's just because you're good looking and they wanted to have sex with you?
Oh my God.
A woman said this to me.
No way.
I was like, sorry, I've just stood on stage and did quite a vulnerable account of how difficult I found this, and you've come up to me and said, do I think it's because I'm good looking and they wanted to have sex with me? Do you know how, what do you even want me to say? That I think, and that was from a woman. So what I mean by that is I've just become more comfortable with just being myself, and that how I'm going to run this business is just me, and that there's it's with Luna Daily, my personal brand, which even that sounds a bit wanky, but they are so closely linked.
Yeah.
But my strength is just being myself and operating like myself as a leader, holding myself to my values and just doing things in my way and not trying to be too corporate. I remember this video went viral. So basically, quick story. These influencers that I'd never even met discovered our product in Sephora. This video went viral, and I just reached out to them. We were chatting, voice noting, and then by complete chance, I was in New York in a restaurant at the same time as them. It wasn't really a restaurant, but it was a club, a beach club on a Friday afternoon. It was 5 p.m. and I had a gin and tonic, and I was wearing linen, and my hair was in a top knot, my sunglasses around my neck. I did not look like CEO vibes, but I saw them and I was like, oh my God, I've got to go over. My friend was like, don't think you do. You've had a gin and tonic, and I was like, no, I have to. These videos got 10 million views. I have to go over. And I went over and I was like, so sorry to interrupt. It was in New York. My name's Katie. I'm the founder of Luna Daily. And they were like, oh my God. And then one of them got their phone out. They were like, can we film this? And I was like, I had this moment when I was like, I don't know. I so don't look like the CEO. Literally, I look the opposite. But I was like, well, if I say no, then nothing's going to happen from this. So I was like, yeah, okay. And then they filmed this interaction of me just being I just had to come over and say thank you so much. You have changed my business. You sold me out, blah, blah, blah. And then nothing happened. And I was like, okay, well, maybe they just thought it was bad. And then a few weeks later, they put this content up. And I remember my first feeling being oh my God, people, the TikTokers, they're gonna rip me apart. They're gonna be so nasty to me. Do you know what I mean? The TikTokers, the comment, I've come here for the comments vibes. And again, that went viral. It got 1 million views. And luckily, people were really nice. But I think it was, and I just got a bit more comfortable of just be me. It doesn't matter.
That's great.
It doesn't matter. And probably what people is just
the authenticity.
Yeah, which I hate that word.
No,
but
sorry.
Not what? No,
But just
but
you
not.
being you.
Yeah, exactly.
We all need more of that in this world.
Yeah, I do still kind of wish I'd taken my hair out the top knot, but whatever.
No regrets. No regret.
If you were to give advice to anyone else that's a bit scared to start up and follow their dream,
if your feet are on the edge of the diving board, I'm going to qualify this. There are also practical realities. I now have a family and a mortgage. You can't just go I'll just quit it and do it. Do you know what I mean? But if your feet are on the edge of the diving board, and if you think there is a bigger chance that I'm going to live with the regret not giving this a go and failing than not doing it, go and do it. Just go and give it a go. And enjoy it. Enjoy it. It's quite cliche that people say you'll look back on the early years, but genuinely try and enjoy it. Because each stage is so different. But I blinked and I've run Luna Daily for 4 years. And so genuinely try and enjoy it. And be really clear what your values are outside of work. Because when things are going well, as a founder, I find I could work all hours every day. Obviously no one's telling me to. I do it because I love it and I want to. And it's quite addictive. You want to. But you need to have those things in place that give you joy, that aren't work, and have those like barriers, guardrails in place for when it's difficult, because otherwise you'll burn out.
Yeah.
Like I've been to see Coldplay an embarrassing number of times. I'm aware it's embarrassing.
How many?
Maybe like 5 with my husband. But like when we're there, we're just like, we love you, Chris. And like we think about, I don't think about anything for 2 hours.
That's great. That is
and it's just
good.
like being at a gig with like no phones, like completely immersed, and like really working out what your values are that are not work, so that when it is intense, which it will be, you've worked out what those things are and you have them in place. Because otherwise, like you risk, and I've done it, where you burn out because all you do is work, and you've sort of forgotten what else. Like, what do I do that brings me joy?
Yeah.
Because every evening, that's all I do. So that would be my other advice.